Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the McKinney 8007 26D. This is what's called a Ajax horizontal double-acting pivot hinge. Let's get everything pulled out of the box and we'll take a look at it. So you've got the bottom portion here. This is what's called a gravity pivot. When that door lifts up and raises and is let go, it just closes by virtue of the weight of the door because of how that's prepped down there. Double acting. Quite capable. The 8007 is an extremely common piece of hardware. Here's your top pivot. It's going to look like that basically when the door's in the closed position, and then it'll obviously rotate up like that is the concept. That's how that works. Bushing that's inside of here, that's actually a wear item. That's not unusual to want to buy those bushings separately. A package of fasteners, installation instructions. Let's put the tape measure on this material and we'll take some basic dimensional properties. Width of the jam bracket, about 1.25 inches. Overall height of the unit, about 2 3/8. The top jam bracket, 1.25 inches. Projection, about 1.75 inches. Vertical axis of pivoting center line looks like it's about 1.25 inches. That's your top piece at the top of the door. Overall length is about 2 1/16. Overall width is about 7/8 of an inch, maybe 3/4. I think it's 7/8. Length of that pin, about 1 inch. No big deal. Let's talk now. Where are you going to use this item? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now the 8007 will be used in countless applications where you're going to have the need for a relatively thin door to be double acting. There's a manufacturer stamp that's back there. I can remove the bottom portion just to show that to you. They do make a hold open version of this as well. It's the H8007. Made in the USA, McKinney, Asa Abloy. No big deal. Doors that are 32 inches wide, 1 inch thick, 40 inches tall, cash wrap doors, doors going to back where a attendant is going to stand and take orders at a gas station. National chain of pizza places. Think of the one that has lots of video games inside. Has the word cheese in the title. They buy them by the bushel load. They use them all the time. Lots of those little half doors that go back and forth. Bonner has their 7000, 7100, 7200, 73, 7400 series that are heavy duty versions of this. But this gravity style pivot or saloon type pivot or louver door gravity pivot. This is really typical, except this happens to be the highest quality type of that group or of that bunch. The installation instructions we're going to go over when we switch to the screen view. Simple and straightforward. They are calling out for a radius on the edge of the door, step 3. 7/8 radius. We'll go over that in a moment, all the installation instruction steps. You have to be mindful basically when you attach the jam bracket basically to leave enough room for when that door comes open and up. You've got to set that bracket so that that can move up is the bottom line. Let's switch to the screen view. Let's take a closer look at all the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, here's the item that we are looking at. This is a factory image that's here on the 8007. Gravity pivot hinge. The 8007 uses a unique ball bearing pivot riding on a hardened steel cam, providing frictionless, long-lasting service. Sure, these things never wear out. I've never heard of one wearing out, in fact. Attachments are surface applied to the jamb, and the top socket may be surface applied or mortised to the top of the door. The box may be surface applied or mortised into the bottom of the door. I'll show you what that means. This is 90-degree hold open feature, not on this item. Hold open feature available on the McKinney H8007 2060. If you were to search this in the site, you will indeed find it. H8007 hold open. Double acting. Door weight closes the door. That's what renders it as a gravity pivot. No spring. These are non-handed. That's your door thickness range, and that really helps quite a bit. It handles typical door thicknesses. 1.25 inch, inch and 3/8. It'll do inch and 3/8. Maximum width the door really 30 inch. I'm going to say that this is, let's take a look. In terms of a weight range, I'd say you'd be up to about 50 pounds on this item. Satin Chrome. It's the only finish that they currently offer. I believe this is discontinued. At the time of this video, I'm literally making it because I believe it's discontinued, and once they're gone, they're gone. Sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. All right. Now, let's take a look at the what's called specification. This is probably just a catalog cut sheet, and that is indeed what it is. All of this data is in the extended description. It's basically showing us the same information that we've already gone over. The non-hold open and the hold open version. I know once upon a time, there we go. I know once upon a time this was available in different finishes. I may actually have one in polished brass that I found. But just satin chrome is what it's available now. Door weight 50 pounds, we were right. Maximum height 60 inch. Maximum height for weight shown. Hinge capacity decreases as gate height decreases. So what they're saying is, as it gets smaller, it gets lighter, and its effectiveness to work is reduced. I think that's what they're saying. There is also a document called Catalog. Now this is going to be a link to the full product catalog from McKinney. We search for the 4007. It will be a heavier duty version, 4007 RB, of the 8007. This is certainly discontinued. We sold the last we had of these earlier this week. There's our 8007 model, other pivots that they have here, and related hardware. They even have a floor pivot here as well. Now, before we get into the installation instructions, let's dive into the images. We have some images uploaded here is what I was about to say. So let's take a look at what we have in that regard. Okay, images. There's the label. That's everything in the box. Your bottom portion put together, showing the door at 90 degree. The top portion showing the door at 90 degree again. Fasteners and the installation instructions. Let's take a look at those installation instructions now. There's a link below this. We'll be able to dive into this. Okie doke. So, all good installation instructions will start with a parts list. This does that to a great extent. Top bracket, nylon bushing, top pivot, bottom pivot, cylinder and cam, square drive, bottom bracket with star hole and nut. Okay, great. Step 1. Fasten bottom bracket to the jamb. Bottom bracket only. Can also be installed up or down as shown. Step 2 shows what that would look like. You can put it either way. I can't say that there's necessarily an advantage to doing it either way. It might be more appropriate for you and for what might be happening on your jamb to do it that way. I really only ever see them installed this way. So you're going to attach that. You're going to attach that bracket. You're going to need to make sure that it's true plumb level and square. That's got to be spot on. Be sure bottom bracket is in vertical alignment with top bracket. We'll get to that. Step two. Step two. That's going to be fasten pivot cylinder in bottom bracket. So when you do that, you're going to need to make sure, well, you'll sort it out. The door will either close at 0 degree or it won't. And because that bracket has a star feature to it, and I showed you the conical way that that material is cut on the inside, if it's not at 0 degree, the door won't close at 0 degree, but you'll sort that out when you try to put it together. Yeah, let's take a look. Set square drive into square hole located in the bottom bracket. I think what they're really saying there is you can't install it wrong unless you are 180 degrees wrong. Only tighten nut to snug fit. Don't over tighten. Hand tight at this moment. Just hand tight. Now, step 3, which is probably step 1, is you're going to need to put a 7/8 radius on the edge of that door. That's really easy. You're going to need a round over bit. Round over bits are available, certainly well within the 7/8 range. And having a router that you'll be able to put a round over bit into won't be a challenge. You might need to modify your router base, but no big deal. Round jam edge of door with 7/8 radius. As we take a look at step 3 with that radius, now you don't have to put a radius on there. You could do it square edge, but you're going to need to increase the distance between the edge of the door and the jamb by, depends on your door thickness, but if you padded it out to a 1/4 inch, left a 1/4 inch margin on either side, you'd be okay with that. So step 3, put the radius on the door, attach your top bracket, being mindful that this dash line must be completely plumb everywhere. They're not telling you how far over this goes. They're just inferring that you're flushing the brackets off to the edge of the door. So flush the brackets off to the edge of the door. Once you get the brackets attached, top and bottom, you'll be able to place the door inside of the jamb bracket. This is only hand tight at this point. Then you'll place the top bracket such that you've got 3/4 inch from the top of the top bracket to the underside of the jamb bracket at the top. Mark the holes, drill it, and you're done. Drill it and secure it. And then they don't want you to over tighten that bottom nut at all. Just snug. There's no reason to remove it at this point. There is the H8007 hold open feature. It does not require any special installation. The hold open feature is on the cam and holds the door open to at least 90 degree. To release door, just push the door with an easy push. They're both double acting, capable of 180 degree plus opening. That would depend on, how thick your jamb was, how far beyond 90 the door would be permitted to actually swing. Now, something very interesting here, drawn by Jackson. Well, if we take a look at the Bomber 7512, its template, drawn by Jackson. So McKinney is certainly private labeling or licensing this patent, and this is patented, from Bomber. There must be some sort of a relationship here. If you recall earlier, I had made a note that they said, something like box could be mortised or notched or whatever it is. Well, this is what it would look like if you wanted to modify your door that way. They're giving us additional information here. The jamb to the vertical axis of pivot is 1 7/32. But this is the same piece of hardware, the 7512 from Bomber. In fact, it's the original. So when you're looking at the 8007, or if you're looking at the H8007, which is the 7512-H652 from Bomber, which is the hold open, it is, again, the same item. Nothing against McKinney. They're obviously private labeling this for their use, which is great. But with Bomber now discontinuing operations, we've taken up as much of the McKinney inventory as possible. Bomber not making them, McKinney's not making them, and it's all discontinued at this point. That's the installation instructions. There is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page, and from there, when you click on that, you can pull up not only all of the McKinney products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the website, as well as a link to their full-line catalog, other encyclopedic documents that are here, older full-line catalogs. There's even a McKinney catalog here from 1929, when they were a very different manufacturer than what they are today. McKinney is under the Assa Abloy umbrella of providing hinges, primarily. Rixson does their pivots, but McKinney will do all their hinge work. Well, if you were building something 90 years ago, you might be looking at iron hardware, such as what McKinney made. Hinges, things of that nature. A really neat way to go back in time. Lock sets, whatnot. It's a bit of a hobby, I suppose, of collecting these archival documents and uploading them. Just nice to be able to look back in time. That's it. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos, in the sense that, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So as I said, it was more, knowing that this is discontinued, it's more of an archival sort of exercise, just to be able to let the future world know that's what the 8007 was, that's what it looked like, that's how it was installed. Probably not going to sell anymore as a result of this video, but the knowledge there is nice to have. That round over is no big deal. Put a round over on each side of the door, a 7/8 radius bit, half-inch shank, shaft. It's probably available even maybe in a 3/8 as well. I don't know if it would be a 1/4 inch. You can set the depth of that round over and just run that down your door real straight. Make 2 passes, flip the door over, do the same thing. Come over, flip the door this way, 2 passes, flip it this way, 2 passes with your router, and you're great. If you're doing 1 3/4 thick doors and you're rounding them over, you'll have a round over bit for that. If you're doing thinner doors, you'll have a different round over for that. And if you really want to know what to do, or what sort of margin, when you're dealing with double acting material, the key is to pop it all, build it all in AutoCAD, which we can do as well. If you want to do a pivot in a bookcase, we can figure out where that vertical axis of pivoting needs to be laid out. Stuart Jackson, who drew that, he's done all the work for us. He's saying, put it here. You can deviate, but you have to know how to deviate in terms of dimensional, the arrangement and the relationship of the dimensions as you change that. Very often they're not radiused, is the bottom line. Anyway, any questions on the 8007 or any other McKinney product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you. Thanks to our clients, Architectural Builder Supply is building an additional facility, and what follows is not only a look at the acreage that we're building the facility on, but also first the architectural renderings as they exist, or at least the architectural plans as they exist at this time. Thank you very much. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the architecturals as they exist at this moment, or at least it wouldn't be proper to call these architecturals, but it would be proper to call them renderings in the sense of they're conceptual drawings, they're not renderings. So the entire space is going to look like this in terms of a site rendering. This will be a 22,000 square foot building, of which will have specific purpose areas. There'll be a workshop down here. This is a few thousand square feet. That will be likely woodworking, metalworking, CNC, things of that nature. This will be an office area here, a private office area. This will be architectural builders supply expanded storage area where we will be able to do fulfillment. The entire space in the center is going to be all of the volume, as I call it. Large components will be able to be stored and stocked there. Machinery that's too large to fit otherwise may be put out here. Specific facility rooms, and then some recreation over here. Let's take a look at that drone footage, and thank you very much for taking a look.